Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about something very similar to my Geonosians video, and that is why we don't see pyke jedi. The pikes are a really interesting species in Star Wars, and despite appearing in multiple eras, we never see a single one in the Jedi Order. So today we're going to break down why that is, what their culture is like, and whether a pyke could even become a Jedi in the first place. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and now let's get into it. Before we go any further, I want to make something clear. I'm not saying it's impossible for a pyke to become a Jedi. There is nothing in Star Wars that says that their species can't be Force sensitive. Almost every species in the galaxy has at least a small chance of producing Force-sensitive individuals, and the pikes are no different. The real question is why we don't see any examples of them joining the Jedi Order, and why there are no recorded pyke Jedi in either canon or legends. And the answer to that comes down to a mix of culture, environment, and how the Jedi operate in the way that they will find their younglings and new initiates into the Jedi Order. The Pikes come from the planet Obadiah, and the society is very structured and very inward focused, built around loyalty to their own people as a major priority. From a young age, Pyke children are raised with a strong sense of identity tied to their clan and their homeworld. Their culture values secrecy, internal unity, and maintaining their own traditions. Because of this, pyke families tend to keep their children close, and they don't usually send them off-world unless it's for something that directly benefits their community. This already makes it extremely unlikely that a pyke child would ever be handed over to the Jedi Order, even if they were discovered to be Force sensitive after the Jedi did their training with the said child. Even if a pyke child was discovered early and taken in by the Jedi, there is still the question of how well they would actually adapt to the Jedi's lifestyle. The Jedi Order raises its younglings in a very calm, disciplined environment, focused on emotional control, cooperation, and letting go of personal attachments. A pyke child will be coming from a background that is almost the complete opposite of that. The society encourages loyalty to their own people, a strong sense of identity, and a mindset built around protecting their own interests. So even if a pyke youngling joined the Order, they would be starting from a very different place compared to most Jedi trainees. This doesn't mean that they couldn't succeed, but it does mean the Jedi have to work much harder to integrate them, and that alone makes it less likely for the Order to pursue recruitment from their species. Another major reason we don't see pyke Jedi is because the Jedi Order usually recruits from worlds that work closely with the Republic. These are planets that have open communication with the Jedi. They'll welcome their presence and have a history of sending children to the Order. The Pikes do not fit into that category at all. The world is private, the society is closed off, and they don't have a tradition of giving their children to outside organizations. Because of this, the Jedi would have very limited access to pyke infants, and even if they did discover one with Force potential, the chances of the family agreeing to let them go would be extremely low, almost to zero. Another factor to consider is that the Jedi also try to avoid causing political tension. If a species has a strong internal loyalty or strict social structure, the Jedi usually stay out of it to avoid conflict with the Order. As a pyke child, leaving their clan to become a Jedi could easily create problems, and the Jedi Order is very careful about not interfering with societies that prefer to remain independent from the Republic. Even if a pyke child was Force sensitive, the Jedi might not choose to intervene at all, simply to avoid creating issues with the Pikes. Another major factor that shaped the Pike Syndicate's rise was their mastery of economic manipulation. Unlike other criminal groups who relied purely on violence or territorial control, the Pikes understood that true power came from controlling supply chains. Their monopoly over the spice trade didn't just make them wealthy, it made entire systems dependent on them. Planets that relied on spice for medicine, trade, or even basic economic stability found themselves trapped in a cycle where cutting ties with the Pikes meant financial collapse. This gave the Syndicate a kind of soft power that was far more dangerous than blasters or starships. They could destabilize a region simply by raising prices, halting shipments, or shifting their trade routes. In many ways, the Pikes operated more like a shadow corporation than a traditional crime family, using scarcity, debt, and dependency as weapons. This economic influence allowed them to expand quietly, slipping into the cracks of the galaxy's political landscape long before anyone realized how deeply they had embedded themselves. There's also a storytelling side to this. Star Wars tends to keep certain species in certain roles. The Pikes are usually portrayed as secretive, strategic, and tied to their own internal power structures. They appear in stories involving politics, trade, and the underworld, and that's the niche that they've been built around. Pike Jedi would be interesting, but it's not the role the species has been used in for the narrative. Writers tend to keep them in the lane that fits their established identity, which is why we don't see them suddenly appearing as Jedi Knights in Legends or canon. So could a Pike Jedi exist? Yes, absolutely. There is nothing in lore that says that they can't become force sensitive, and nothing that says they couldn't be trained. It's just extremely unlikely because of how the society works, how the Jedi recruit, and how their different values are from the Jedi lifestyle. If Star Wars ever wanted to introduce a Pike Jedi, they easily could, and it would actually make for a really interesting character, side character, or otherwise. But based on everything we know, it makes sense why we haven't seen one yet. Anyway guys, that's why we don't see Pike Jedi in Star Wars. It's not because they're incapable, but because their culture, their upbringing, and the way the Jedi Order operates all make it incredibly rare. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be going back to more traditional lore now, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and may the Force be with you.